Yes, I've got wet hair because, to be honest, it's too damn hot to actually dry it at the moment. So, you know, I think it looks kind of nice. I might keep it like this. The next video that I was going to upload was going to be the paint my face tutorial that I did with Carrie. Unfortunately, due to my camera crapping out halfway through, I actually lost some of the footage. I did manage to get some footage, but it wasn't quite as much as I wanted. So hopefully Carrie should be coming around any minute now with the hard drive so I can finish that video for you guys. In the meantime, I'm sorry, I had my husband off camera trying to distract me. Stop it!
I wasn't.
You were!
I was doing my dance on so.
Anyway, so in the meantime, between this video and, sorry, the last video and my next video, which will be the face painting tutorial, I decided to do kind of like a filler video. And I thought, what better thing to do for a filler video than to tell you guys some of the things that I like, you know, give you a little bit more of an insight into me as a person. So the thing that I obviously don't make a secret is that I really like Batman and DC Comics in general. My favourite character being Harley Quinn. The whole Batman thing started when I was a little girl. I would watch the cartoons back when cartoons like that were on TV. I used to watch Batman the animated series. I absolutely loved it. My mum used to worry about me growing up because I liked watching things like Power Rangers and Batman, and she was thinking that I should watch things like Care Bears and My Little Pony, which I did, but I never enjoyed them quite as much as Batman and things like that. Harley Quinn being my favourite character, I do have one particular prized possession, which I got a couple of years ago, which is the graphic novel or comic book of Batman called Mad Love. And this was actually the comic book with the first appearance of Harley Quinn, and it also had her origins, her background story. And I'm one of these people, when I find a character that I like, either fictional character or non-fictional character, I really like to find out their backstory. I really like to find out their origins, you know, how they came to be the person they are. I liked hearing about, you know, the Joker's origins, which obviously has been changed slightly for some of the new 52 series comic books. I didn't mind so much what they did because they did change it, but they didn't change it too badly to kind of ruin it for me as a fan, as a die-hard fan for years. Similarly with Harley Quinn, they changed the background story slightly, but I didn't mind the changes they made. They actually sort of added to the background of the character. You learn a little bit more about her, so, you know, it was quite interesting what they did. Another thing that I really like is I also really like anime. I like mangas and things like that. It's probably a bit mainstream and everybody obviously watches it, but I really enjoy Naruto. I know pretty much everybody who likes anime watches Naruto, but I am a big fan of it. I also watch a anime called Vampire Knight, which is one that I started reading the books of, and then I kind of got into the TV show as well. I actually have a tattoo on my right ankle of the symbol that they have from the show, which my husband bought me for, which birthday? Was it a birthday?
It was just a general present, I
Just
think.
a general present, you know. My mum found it quite funny because she said, most guys get their girlfriends chocolates, flowers. Your boyfriend gets you a tattoo. Why is that? I said, because he knows me. Because he knows the sort of shit I like, which includes tattoos. Which brings me on to the next one. Another thing I really like is I really like tattoos. Not just my own, I love looking at other people's. I've always had a very keen interest in tattoos before I even had any. I've not got anything against people who don't have tattoos, but I kind of find blank bodies a little bit boring, you know. I think that tattoos, like really colourful tattoos on a person's body, makes it look really interesting, and it's literally like you're a walking piece of art. Because as far as I can remember from when I could pick up a pencil, I've drawn, I've painted, I've sketched, I've done all sorts of things, and so for me the idea of having a walking piece of art, that's my phone.
Leave it all up.
So yeah, the idea of being a walking piece of art, you know, having somebody else's artwork on your body, and anywhere you go in the world, that artwork goes with you. People are going to look at it, they're going to ask you about it, you know. And I also like hearing the stories behind people's tattoos, you know, memorial tattoos, tattoos that they've done for a particular friend, things that have really strong meaning to them. Random hand out the corner of the screen. So yeah, I've always had a really keen interest in tattoos. I have 6 myself now. I actually didn't have any, and within the space of about a year I went from having none to 6, which was proved very expensive, but God help me, I've got another 4 or 5 planned that I want to get done in the near future, depending on how things go. Another thing that I also really like is food. I really like food, cooking, all that sort of thing. My favourite food though is sushi. I could live on sushi if I had the choice. Any time that I have the opportunity and I have the money, I would always go. I would bathe in it. I would always go and get sushi. There is actually sushi in my fridge right now that my husband actually bought for me for my lunch tomorrow. Which is the supermarket brand sushi, which isn't technically real sushi, but I also enjoy real sushi. I also enjoy, there's a type of sushi that you can get, which rather than the rice and things, it's called sashimi, and it's literally very thin slices of raw fish, and my favourite one of those to have is tuna. I find that really tasty. Very thinly sliced tuna, and there's a very angry looking husband off camera because tuna is obviously the American tuna is obviously the American way of pronouncing tuna. But for some reason, for as long as I can remember, I've always said tuna. I just found that tuna was easier for me to say, and I'm going to keep saying it because it annoys him. Tuna. I also enjoy PC gaming. Obviously, as you know from seeing some of the videos that I've done with the guys over at Phoenix Gaming, I've gotten back into my PC gaming recently. I haven't done it for many years. Years and years ago, when I didn't have a social life per se, I would quite often just sit at home and play video games, PC games, and I can't honestly remember the names of most of them, but a lot of them were kind of like the role-playing PC games where you're a wizard or you're an elf or you're a healer, and you kind of go around on different quests and you have to collect items and all that kind of stuff, and I would just waste hours and hours playing PC games. But as far as I was concerned, they weren't hours wasted, because I had a really good time. I really enjoyed them, and I'm now getting back into the PC gaming, but it is kind of hard getting used to the controls again. You know, I've got to remember what the different buttons do, and the last time I played Gary's mod, I did spend a good portion of the time saying, hey guys, how do you open doors? Hey, how do you pick up the gun? Hey, how do you use the gun? Hey, how do I sit down in a fucking chair? It was ridiculous.
Or get stuck in the floor.
Or get stuck in the floor. I got stuck in the floor on several occasions, and apparently I'm very good at dying. I'm actually thinking the next time I do a Gary's mod video, I might just do a little counter in the corner just to say how many times I die, you know, because it's a lot. And even though I'm really into my PC gaming, I do also like console games, just not as much. For me, I will always be more into PC games. I don't know why, it's just my favourite. You know, they always say there's two kinds of people. There's people that like PC gaming and there's people that like consoles. I must admit though, a little while ago I had a go on a Wii U. It was actually my brother-in-law's Wii U, and I fell in love with it, and I really want to get one, but they are quite expensive. And for those of you watching in America, you probably have similar stores to this. We have a store here in England called CEX, which stands for Computer Exchange, and basically it's a place where you can buy second-hand DVDs, games, mobile phones, games consoles, all perfectly legit. I've never had anything from there that I've had a problem with, and I went into there a couple of days ago, and I was just sort of browsing the shelves, seeing what I could find, and they actually had a Wii U console, and because there's a game, you've got the actual screen where the console is plugged into, but then you also have like, I don't know what to call it, like a little console pad, I suppose, with a screen on it as well, and that's how you do everything that you need to do. And they had one which had a Legend of Zelda skin on it, which was gold, and I think I possibly drawled on the glass slightly because it was really pretty. And then I saw the price, and it didn't shock me because I knew it was going to be expensive, but part of me still really wanted it. So yeah, I might be saving up for that once I've bought all the, you know, sensible grown-up stuff that I need more. Another thing that I really like is I really like animals. Ever since I was a little girl, we've always owned animals. We've always had things like chinchillas, guinea pigs, cockatiels, budgies, rabbits, dogs, cats, you name it, hamsters, we had it, fish, all sorts, we had it. Nowadays I've got mostly reptiles. My husband and me have got between us 3 different snakes, one of which is mine, 2 of which are his. We also are looking after a snake for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. We have also found out recently that we're going to be taking on some more of their snakes to look after as well. So the house is going to get a little bit crowded. I also have a leopard gecko who I'm going to introduce you to. Okay, so this is my leopard gecko Dookie. I haven't actually kept track of how old she is, but I've probably had her for about 12 years, which sounds like a long time, but if you look after them properly, they can live for about 20 years. Sorry, her tongue is sticking out. And yeah, she's quite cute. I don't really know what else to say to you about her. They're if you've never, no, she's not. If you've never had any sort of lizard or anything before, I would recommend leopard geckos as a starter pet. They're really easy to look after, very tactile. They like being stroked. She particularly likes it when I tickle her under the chin like this. Look, she likes that. Oh yeah, you have that.
Best advice we can give is get one.
Yes, just get one because
don't get the same gender.
no. When I got Dookie, I actually bought another female gecko who I named Sequoia. Do not name your pets when you're drunk because you will end up naming your leopard gecko after a tree, and it seems like a really good idea at the time, and then the next day you find yourself saying to your friends, did I name my leopard gecko after a tree? So yeah, originally I had Dookie and another female gecko called Sequoia. They were in a tank together because I didn't read the books properly and I thought that Dookie might be lonely or Sequoia might be lonely, so I put them in a tank together. I then noticed that they were starting to fight, they weren't getting on anymore, and so in between me getting a new tank I decided to put a divide in the middle of the tank so that, you know, they couldn't get to each other anymore. And I did that, but then they kind of kept trying to get into each other's side of the tank anyway, so I thought I'll put them back together again, and for a while they got together really well for years, you know, didn't fight or anything. A couple of years ago I did notice they were starting to fight again. Similar situation, I tried to separate the tank, didn't work. Anyway, long story short, Dookie actually ended up eating all the food and Sequoia wasn't getting enough food, and I noticed that she was starting to get really skinny, so I separated them into different tanks. Best thing to do, I started feeding Sequoia more food than she probably needed to try and fatten her up. I even started feeding her by hand, but unfortunately it was too late to do anything and she actually ended up passing away. I felt really guilty because I love my animals. I always try to look after them as best I can, but unfortunately I think she was just too ill to actually get better again. So, you know, lesson learned. If you do end up buying a leopard gecko, do not put them in the same tank. They actually prefer being alone. I know that seems strange because you imagine lots of animals liking being together, but animals such as snakes and lizards, there are some exceptions, but the majority of the time they do actually like being on their own. Also, for those of you maybe watching this in America, I know that over there Dookie is another word for poo, but I actually named her Dookie because at the time I was very heavily into the band Green Day. I actually still really enjoy Green Day. I actually listen to them so much I even ended up getting my mum interested in them, and she doesn't like any kind of rock music or anything even remotely close to rock music. So to get her into Green Day was kind of a big deal for me, and now it's all she wants to listen to when she's in my car, so I quite often get an opportunity to listen to Green Day again. Not a bad thing. So yeah, that is Dookie. This guy is Azrael. He is actually not our snake, he is my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's snake. He is a royal python. He's an albino black eyes, and as you can see he's a very handsome snake. Also quite long. The reason I'm not going to get him out and handle him is he's actually due to be fed soon, and although he won't go for me, he's going to be quite restless to handle. They don't generally like being handled when they're hungry. They get a bit restless because obviously all they want to do is eat. So this is Mr. J, obviously named after the Joker from Batman. He is also a male and he is a royal python. Oh, I'm going to go from this angle because she smeared poo on her tank. I know. This is she. This is Rob's snake. She's a female royal python. She's a little bit smaller than Mr. J, but not by much. The females do tend to be bigger, but she's only smaller because she is younger. And yeah, she's a very pretty snake. Very easygoing, very good to handle. We have found that she's quite hungry though. We will feed her her normal dose of food and she will still be hungry, but we have put mice in there before and she has not been interested, so yeah, it's kind of hit and miss with her. She's a little bit of a pain. And then the last snake, I don't know if you can see him very well, he's decided to smear stuff all over the side of his tank. This is Garmy. Again, he is a male royal python. This is another one of Rob's snakes. Just going to move the tank slightly so maybe you can see him slightly better. There he is. So yeah, this is Rob's royal python, and again he is a male. We're not really sure how old a lot of ours are. We got them as adolescents, so...
6 months when I brought him.
Oh, there you go. He was 6 months when Rob bought him, and that was probably 2 years ago. So he's still kind of a baby, even though he's not very baby-sized. But yeah, I mean, they probably look a bit intimidating to people who aren't fans of snakes. But honestly, they're very tactile, very docile. You know, you can handle them, and they don't really mind. Carrie's here. She bought a hard drive, so I can finish the paint your face video now. Yes. Should be fun.
We are quite far away in the video though.
We are quite very, yeah, there was a lot of talking and not quite a lot of filming the actual face painting.
And most of the time I'm in front of your face, because I'm doing this.
Which was fine by me, because I had boobs in my face, which I'm always a fan of. So, while Carrie's here, you wanted to talk about a charity walk that you're going to do.
I am planning to do a charity walk, which you've just helped me with, cameraman. Because I was going to do it from my hometown to the London Eye, but he's come up with a genius idea of what if I do it the other way around and I could just walk home. I think that's a good idea. But yes, charity walk, which is about 20 miles from the London Eye home, all in aid of this charity, all the Sophie things.
All of the Sophie.
Sophie Lancaster is somebody I think is all very close to us, even though we never knew her, who was, how do I put it? How do I describe what happened to Sophie nicely?
It's kind of an anti-bullying campaign, because basically the idea of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is she was actually beaten up because she dressed differently. She was a goth, and she deliberately got picked on, and she was actually
defending her boyfriend. What happened was they got singled out. He was getting kicked in pretty badly, and she decided to throw herself on top of him, and he ended up in critical, and she passed away.
And the idea of the charity as well is it's not just about goths, it's about anybody. It's like, for example, I mean, we dress the way that we do, and I wouldn't go out and beat up a chav just because they dress like that. I wouldn't go out and beat somebody up just because of the colour of their skin, their sexual orientation, or the clothes they wear. It's basically, yeah, exactly. There shouldn't really be any there shouldn't be any discrimination about anybody based on the clothes they wear, the colour of their skin, or their sexual orientation. You should be able to be the person that you are without fear of getting beaten up like Sophie did. So if you go onto the Sophie Lancaster website, which I will put in the description, you can buy wristbands such as this one here. This is the classic Sophie bracelet. Yeah. You can also get this one. There's a message on it which says weirdo mosher freak, and it says something along the lines of
if only I stopped at name calling.
Exactly, yeah, which is the idea of the campaign. And basically you can buy t-shirts, you can get vest tops like this in green, or as Carrie's modelling, you can get the t-shirt which is in blue. Also, Carrie will be eventually setting up a Just Giving page, and I'll put the link in the description as well. So if you do want to donate some money to the cause.
Sorry, your face.
He's not the camera. If you want to donate some money to the worthy cause of Carrie walking that far, personally, I wouldn't do it because I'm immensely unfit. Then
I did
yeah,
Edinburgh.
Way.
Just putting that out there.
Just putting that.
So did I, and it meant nothing.
Just dropping that in there.
How
so yeah, I'm going to put a link in the description.
I did like
so
a week course thing in Wales.
Okay, you've trumped me already. But
also, not on another note, it's not just green and blue. There are a few other colours. There's also hoodies, and there are a few other things. So it's not narrowed down just to t-shirts and vest tops.
I didn't get the red and black one. I did prefer the blue one for some reason.
I think there's a purple. I think there is a purple one. I may be wrong.
There's one that's blue and purple.
I think it's kind of purple and pink, isn't it? It's like purple, pink, purple. Sorry, purple, pink, purple.
And you also just patted me. Sorry.
This is light-handed.
This is how I treat my friends.
Yeah, just there we go. Anyway,
that was actually really hard.
Giggity-goo. Yes. A little highlight. The Sophie Lancaster Foundation has actually achieved a big milestone this year in that they actually made attacking anybody because of the way they dress officially a hate crime now.
Exactly.
So milestone achieved.
Milestone achieved.
And there are many more to go. But we're trying to
He keeps knocking the camera.
It's you. I thought you were getting annoyed at me. I'm like, what am I doing?
I like touching the tripod, you see.
I bet you do.
But no,
that's my husband.
On a serious note, what we'll do is we'll keep you updated with the charity. Anything we find out from Carrie, we'll send a link over to her YouTube. Anything else?
I like doing.
I will put things in my YouTube as well.
She hasn't set any dates, so as soon as Gemma knows.
As soon as I know the dates that you will be doing the walk, I will put stuff up on one of my videos.
Will plaster Facebook with
and
it.
Yes, I will also put it, because now I've got a Facebook page. I'm
Hey!
on Facebook now, going all kind of, you know, out there and out, kind of going all out there, and yeah, on Facebook. So anything like that I will also put on my Facebook page. So if you don't see it on my YouTube videos, you will definitely see it on my Facebook page.
Oh yes.
But I love it.
Oh yeah. I was singing Crazy Moose on the way home.
How does Crazy Moose go? I'm going to regret asking that.
There was a crazy moose, isn't it that crazy moose? You like to drink a lot of juice, you like to drink a lot of juice. There was a crazy moose, there was a crazy moose. You like to drink a lot of juice, you like to drink a lot of juice. Sing away, way out.
God, I feel old all of a sudden.
Now, in the time we've got left, I haven't got enough time to do the next 5 verses, but it's as long as I